Hello and welcome to my first online video whiskey review. I made an attempt some days ago with doing this as a live feed, but there was something wrong with the internet connection, so it didn't work very well. So we are hoping for better luck today. This time I'm doing it as I'm recording it first and then uploading it later. So today I'm going to review two society bottles. It's the SMWS, the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. This one is a Bowmore, and you can see here it's distillery number 3 and cask number 262, and they have named this bottle Medicine for the Soul. It's a 19-year-old. The alcohol is the alcohol by volume is 58%, and it's an ex-bourbon hogshead, refill hogshead. It was distilled on the 27th of March in '96, and there were a total of 217 bottles made. 270 bottles. 270. So we're just going to pour it up here. I'm always using the Glencairn glasses, but there are of course other possibilities. But I like the nosing glass. And it's a really resilient glass, and it can take the dishwasher, and I think that's a huge advantage. A bit of the cork is on here on the bottle. There you go. So first I will examine the color. It's like a liquid sunshine. Very, very nice color. And of course in the society bottles there are never any additives. It's just straight from the cask, and it's single cask, and there's no chill filtering, and there's no adding of the E150, the caramel coloring, or sugar stuff coloring as they call it in Germany. And I'm examining now the curtains. Here it's a really rich whiskey. You can see that the curtains are really slow, and they are like hanging, and that is just to imagine what that does to the finish of the whiskey when you're drinking it. It sticks to your mouth, your tongue, your throat, and it just keeps hanging in there. So I'm expecting a long aftertaste. And you can also see, or I can see on the top of the curtains, that it divides itself into small droplets on the railing of the curtains, and that's like just bears witness about the really high alcohol content. This rarely happens with whiskey that is watered down, 43%, 46%, but here in this 58%, it's really, really nice. So I'm nosing it now, and as advised, I'm breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And so I'll do this 3 times. First time I only smell alcohol. Second time it becomes more sweet, some sweet notes. And then I'm catching the floral, the spices and such that are linked with this whiskey. And it has a really, really mellow smoke, peatiness. It's really, really subtle. Quite pleasant actually, and it's also very maritime. There are some seaweeds and some salty air you can smell in there. and there's also some sweetness, some grass, some freshly mowed grass. Reminds me a bit of what to say. It's like harvest. Brings back some memory of harvest. So there are also some other sweet notes in there. There's a hint of vanilla. Yeah, and yes, it's really pleasant smell. So let's go for the tasting. Slanje. The texture of it's really thick. It's very oily. I didn't expect that, and it has like a meaty flavor to it. It's very palate is really complex. I was expecting something more peaty, but it's very complex. There's I can taste like this is something I use a lot to explain whiskeys that are meaty. It tastes like bone marrow. It has this oily umami taste to it, and it's really nice. Yeah, there's just an explosion of these earthy, meaty flavors. Really good tasting notes on it. And if I should describe it, the peat in it is really subtle, just as on the nose, and it just like adds just like some, I don't know, some smoked bacon or some smoked lamb meat or something like that. It's really good. I'm just sorry I didn't buy all of them, all of the 270 bottles that came out. So I could do this every day. Really nice. I'm not going to add any water. I think I sometimes add water just to see how interesting it gets. I think this is not a newly opened bottle. I have tried this before, and then I added water, and it made it more interesting. It shifted into another level, but it didn't. It made it different, but it didn't necessarily make it better. So I really like it with no drops of water in it. And of course, you always drink whiskey neat, in my opinion. So that was this first dram, and I'm not going to give it any character or how do you say it? Give it any points. That was what I was meaning. Because I think that it's so individual. You cannot compare this. It's like you cannot compare two kinds of fish, for example, and whiskeys are so different that it is just as different as people's palate, people's taste buds. So I think it's just like you enjoy the whiskey dram by dram, and you can maybe compare them while you're drinking. If you are tasting one night, or tasting maybe 2 or 3 or 6 different drams, typical whiskey tasting often is 6 drams, 6 different whiskeys, then you can do a comparison. But if you change the row, so if you put whiskey number 1 up to 6, and you change the row of the whiskey just something different, then you would also change the experience that you have of the individual whiskey. That's something that you can actually manipulate, so you can taste a really peaty whiskey first in the evening, and everything will taste like water after that. And if you do it the other way around, it will of course give you a totally different experience. So it's really important that you don't judge whiskies too hard against each other, and I actually don't like giving whiskey points. So, but there are a lot of people that are doing that. I'm not going to do it. Really good dram, this one. This was a Bowmore, and 19 years old. Really nice. I love society bottles. They're really good. My next one is going to be also a society bottle, and it's also one from Bowmore. It's a bit younger, this one. The one that we had before was 19 years old, and this one is 17 years old. It's called The Nectar of the Islay Gods. It's a later cask. It's actually so it's the 292, and the other one was the 262. So this is the 30th cask after the previous one we tasted. So I just keep. Yeah, here's the other glass I was going to use. This one is a bit stronger in alcohol. It's one of 264 bottles, and it was distilled in 1999. It's also an ex-bourbon, and it's also a hogshead. So it's same cask type, bourbon and everything, but it's a bit stronger in alcohol, and that is also. So it's a bit same quality during according to Angel Shear. It's a bit same quality cask as the one before, because it's relatively higher in alcohol percent, 2% higher, and 2 years younger. So this type of barrel, could you say, loses around 1% of alcohol by volume per year. But this is just talking because if it's high in the warehouse or low in the warehouse, everything. If you change something about the condition of the barrel, then everything changes. The whiskey changes also. So we're going to try this one. This one is. I can see straight away it's a bit similar in color, slightly lighter, and you can see straight away that this is not as heavy. The curtains of this one are not as heavy as the previous one. Here it's and the small droplets on the railing of the curtains are much smaller. And that is also in accordance with that. It's a bit higher in alcohol by volume, and it's much more fresh on the nose. And you can also smell it's much more peaty. It's much peatier. And then again, there are the sweet notes of the vanilla. There are some spices here. There's peppery chili. So I'm really looking forward to tasting this Slenge. It doesn't have the same fullness. It doesn't have the meatiness as the other one. But what I can feel here is like. There's some pastry notes in here. It's like maybe a Danish pastry, something like that. Some pecan nut. It's really, really good actually. A totally different direction than the other one. But still you have the maritime notes, the saltiness, the peatiness, seaweed. And there were some on the second taste I took there were some of these umami notes again, these meaty bacon smoked notes. Really, really nice brand, this one. It's doesn't have the same long aftertaste. It disappears much faster in your mouth, and it's also 2 years younger than the other one. But it's much more peaty. This one. This has a sharp peatiness to it. It's not the other one was more mellow, the peatiness, and more heavy. This one is sharp and fast. And I can also now, when I have been tasting it a couple of times, I can sense it much more now on the nose that it's way higher in peatiness. So, if I should judge which one of these is better, I would say that the previous one was better. It's this one is very interesting. It's more powerful. It's much more powerful on the alcohol side. But the other one has better aftertaste, and it's more oily and leaves more of experience and so on. I cannot. It's like the other one was like drawing memories to something harvest, some harvest theme of some sort, and this one does not tell me the same story. If you could follow me on that one, it's much more like a punch in your face. The one thing about Society bottlings is that they write some really, really funny texts on the bottles. This one that I'm tasting right now, it says the nose combines Parma violets and lavender with black currants, Turkish delights, garden bonfires, and vapor rub. Barbecued fish, scallops with water. The palate has sugar almonds, honey, teriyaki ribs, sweet salty langoustines, ash, and a teasing smoke, nectar of the Islay gods. It's really poetic, that is the stuff that are writing on this one, and I can follow them on some of these tastes, like barbecued fish and scallops with water. That's the maritime, but this teriyaki ribs and honey, I did not catch that one. And sugared almonds, I did not catch. I caught some vanilla, but I didn't catch any almonds. So if we read just for fun the text on the other bottle, the first one, it says the nose carries delectable floral smoke, herbal tea, grapefruit, clover, honey, and vanilla. The vanilla again. Harmonious and inviting. The palate is simply delicious.